I had the great honor of being hired as an instructor for a group of individuals that had multiple disabilities. Some of those including deafness, blindness, they were bound to wheelchairs, and they did not speak. We called them nonverbals. How we interacted with them was through tactile manual sign, which is signing into somebody's hand, or using their hands to sign out something. We also did a form of sensory communication, an example being we would do the weather every day. And if it was raining, we would take a spray bottle and spray it. And yes, you can figure out that was not very popular. It was quickly scratched. I was deeply in over my head, despite my years of having worked in this field. Thankfully, I had a great group of staff who really helped me out. One individual stuck out in general, specifically. Her name was Kathy. She had worked there for 20 years. She had a deep well of compassion. She had a wicked sense of humor, and just this ability to read people's emotions that is rare now. Back to her wicked sense of humor, we had another staff member who had a terrible fright of mice. We had sensory mice, and so I encouraged Kathy to pretend to sneeze with one of these sensory mice and throw it at the other staff member. We made sure that her heart was still working well. She screamed obscenities that no Roman Catholic ever should have, but it gave us all giggles. About 6 or 7 months into me working with Kathy and the other staff members, I got a call on Saturday. Kathy had dropped dead. It was a terrible shock, to say the least. I came in Monday, and I was faced with having to tell my clients what had happened. I had no idea. I was still reeling with the shock of Kathy's death, the loss of somebody who was far stronger an instructor than I would ever be. And just going through the motions of the day. And thankfully, the school psychologist came to me. I thought, oh, she's going to give me pearls of wisdom. And she sat down a book that was written for children who lost their parents in 9/11. I sat there thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to connect this to the people I'm working with. This makes no sense. Maybe this is grief, no idea. Second day comes around, and we have a group circle, and a priest is called in. And granted, everybody's nonverbal, so the priest brings in this big rubber ring, and we're all holding it, and he says, let us take a moment to think about Kathy, and then offer some kind words. There was a very pregnant silence, before he finally realized nobody was going to respond. And that passed, and we were still all reeling with grief. And then it was my turn to bring each individual into a room and to communicate with them what had happened with Kathy. And one of the things that I had really come into tune with in working with Kathy was that nonverbal communication and understanding emotions. And before I even was able to sign into individuals' hands that Kathy was gone, I could tell by the slump of their body, crying, that they knew. And after I'd spoken with every individual, we were all sitting in the classroom, and the lights started to flicker on and off. And one of my colleagues looked and she said, I think that's, and I forgot to mention there was one client who was verbal, and she said, it's Kathy. And I'll always be grateful for that. Thank you.